welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. It's been a while since I met with you all to show you a recipe, but as all of you probably know, the Christmas season and any holiday season is extremely busy, especially when if you have a family and work and everything else. And then once we finally got on Christmas break, I got really sick. So that kind of leveled me for a week and then recovered for a week, and now I'm back feeling mostly human again. And one recipe I discovered recently that my family just loved is Cherry Cobbler. And this recipe is made with 8 cups of frozen cherries, because the standard recipe makes 4 cups or a 9-inch square pan. However, I always double recipes, and this is in a 9x13 pan. And the first step is going to put the cherries in the pan. So that's pretty easy. And then just level them out. So, and then the next step, we're going to make a batter that will go over the cherries. And then while we're making the batter, we're going to boil some water to make the sugar slurry that goes on top of the batter. So it's basically 3 layers. And then it's going to bake at 350 degrees for almost an hour. The original recipe said 45 minutes, but I realized that 60 minutes is closer to what it actually takes. So that's what we're going to do. So let me go ahead and get the water to boil. And I don't know if you all have ever used an electric kettle. Those of you from the UK probably have used an electric kettle, but these things are awesome, especially when you're sick, is you can make tea in a snap. So you plug it in, put the lever down, and in about a minute or 2 you will have boiling water. So we'll let that cook while we make the batter. So we're going to have 1.5 cups of sugar. We'll get to the half a cup here. This is a half cup. Okay, so it has 1.5 cups of sugar. All right, that's 1.5 cups of white sugar and 2 cups of flour. It's always good to keep your flour in an airtight container to make sure you don't have any insects or hitchhikers from whichever store or manufacturing plant the flour came from. And I always freeze my flour for a day or 2 when I bring it home, just to make sure there's no surprises. So anyway, that is again 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 cups of flour, to which I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of melted butter. And we also need a cup of milk. And as you can hear, that's almost boiling. So I'm going to use this measuring pitcher. It's always best to measure liquids in a measuring pitcher. Whoops, I went over a slight bit for the milk. So, alright, so 1 cup of milk. And then we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, and then we need 1/4 teaspoon of salt for a regular batch. So that would be doubled, would be a 1/2 teaspoon. So measure that. So we're just going to do that, and then just going to mix this up real quick. You always want to mix the dry before you add the wet ingredients. Now I'm going to add in 1 cup of milk and 6 tablespoons of butter. And make sure you like and subscribe and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And thanks again for your patience in our couple of week absence. Illness is no joke, especially combined with the holiday crazies. So I'm mixing this up with this batter mixer here. Alright. So we're going to dump this on the cobbler, on the cherries, in order to make the cobbler. So just spread this on here. Let me get the scraper to get the goodies out here.
That looks so good.
Yeah, we had this 2 different times over the holiday because we wanted something sweet even though we weren't feeling so hot. So I'm gonna spread this out. Actually, you know what? This other spatula would make a lot more sense. Alright. Last time I tapped on a bowl like that, the dog barked as though somebody was at the door. She's a sweet girl, but she's a little jumpy when it comes to the door. Alright. So try to cover up the cherries. And it helps to try to smooth out the cherries, make sure they're laying kind of even. And now, this is the most interesting part of this recipe. Let me rinse this out. We don't want milk in the sugar slurry.
And that water's just boiling away.
Yeah. So, what's nice about this tea kettle here is you can make tea super fast, and starting out with boiling water over your tea bag is much better. Boiling your water separately, or boiling water in the microwave is not a good thing. It can be dangerous. And if you value a good cup of tea, you need to have some nice boiled water.
So that can do that pretty fast.
Yep.
And where can we get one of those when we want one?
Most major department stores have them. I got this one from Kohl's a couple years ago. So, we're going to have our 2 cups of boiling water. And because the 1.5 cups of sugar in this part of the recipe wasn't enough, this part of the recipe calls for 2 cups. So, but then again, the cherries are not sweetened themselves, so you do kind of need a little extra sweet. So I'm sure there's ways to narrow down the sugar in this. However, this works. So I use slightly less than 1 cup per each scoop, so not as bad. And then a tablespoon of cornstarch, so that would be doubled, which would be 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So I'm going to mix this in with the sugar first. And that's going to make a sugar slurry to go on top of, I almost dropped that whole scoop of cornstarch. That will make the sugar slurry to go on top of that.
And so, I do have a question. What is a slurry?
A liquid mixture, usually consisting of sugar.
Okay.
And this has cornstarch because that's going to help, combine all the ingredients, and also make a nice crust, nice sugary crust on top of the batter. This is the first time I made this. I thought it was really weird. But you know what? When you try a new recipe, follow it by the book all the way through the first time you make it. And then you can go from there and see if you want to make any changes. So, this is what makes this recipe unusual. But I'm just dissolving the cornstarch and sugar in the boiling water. And then I will pour it over the pan. And it's nice to have this deeper pan, because I find that it will actually really fill out a 9x13 pan. So I have a glass pan that is 9.5 by 13.5, and it actually worked well because that extra volume made up for the fact that it wasn't as tall.
Mm-hmm.
So this, you just carefully pour this on. I know this sounds weird, but this actually works out. This is very, very hot. So, whoops. And some of the cornstarch and sugar didn't quite get out there. But this is going to bake again at 350 for about an hour. So it's going to bake at 350 for about an hour. And it'll get golden brown. And it'll have a nice shiny crust on top. And then after we show you its yumminess from the oven, we'll let it sit for about 15 to 20 before we scoop it out and give you a taste test. So be back with you soon. And our cherry cobbler is done. It needed about 70 minutes total. It's all hot and bubbly.
Yeah, look at that.
So you can see how it made a nice crisp crust. Let me tap it. You can hear it. See the nice crisp crust? So, since this is the consistency of molten lava, we're going to wait probably about 20 minutes to sample it and do our taste test. So, make sure you like and subscribe and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And we'll be right back. Alright, are you all ready for some cherry yumminess? This is a delicious cobbler. So look at that.
Oh wow, look at all that steam pop off of it. Wow.
Ooh.
That looks so good. I wonder who's going to eat it. Oh wait, I know exactly who's going to eat it.
I'm going to give you a spoon to eat it with because it is juicy.
Juicy.
Well, it's hot, so
Let's hope it's not burn your mouth hot.
yummy and delicious.
I like how that, like the crust or whatever, it's nice and fluffy, and then the cherries are.
It's kind of like hot fluffy biscuits on some chicken noodle soup or some turkey soup. All right, Dahlia's coming over to take a look.
And the dog doesn't get any.
It's hot stuff.
Look at all of that. Oh my gosh, that looks so
Doesn't that
good.
look yummy?
Yes, it does.
And this will thicken upon standing, so not standing literally, but standing is leaving it alone. So look at that.
Oh my gosh, that
Look at
looks
that.
so good. Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
This would even be good over some like pancakes or something like that.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. We had the last batch with vanilla ice cream and it was delicious.
It was.
So anyway, we will include the recipe with this video so you can create this yumminess yourself. And I would expect that you could probably substitute blueberries or any kind of berries to go with this, or heck, even plums or peaches. It's a very good cobbler recipe, but you might need to adjust the sugar depending upon how sweet your fruit is. Cherries can be kind of tart, so I think that's why it called for so much sugar. So anyway, thank you again for joining us, and come back again soon.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.